Hi, welcome to the FALCON system. Today we're going to talk about how to do your quarterly reports if you're a Marshal. So first you go to www.cardmarshal.com and that takes you to the FALCON system. You'll click sign in if you haven't, if you're not already signed in, and sign in with your Gmail address and password that you used when you registered for the system. So it'll say welcome your SCA and your SCA name here. In this case, I'm just using a test record. This is Test Fighter 33. But in my case, it'd say Gustav Jameson, or it'll say welcome Torg Torgerson, or whatever your SCA name is. And it's time for quarterly reporting. So we're going to click on Report in the upper right-hand menu, and that takes you to the report form. So some quick radio buttons to select from. You can either do a quarterly report for Armored Combat or Cal and Steel, or if it's your local group has just done an event and you need to do an event report, you can click the Event Report radio button and indicate if it's Armored Combat or Cal and Steel. But for the sake of example, we're going to do just a typical report, and the radio button for the quarter auto-populates based on today's date and what report is most likely due. So today is the 21st of January, and so I ought to be doing a fourth quarter report, so it automatically populates. Then you click the next button, and it will show you the information from your fighter record that you're logged in with. And you have an opportunity here to edit this. The most important thing that's typically edited here is your SCA membership expiration date. If that's changed, you can make that adjustment here, whatever your new expiration date is, and when you click on Save, it will save and populate that real time in the database. Also, if you've moved, you can update your address, your email address, your phone number if that's changed, etc. You click on Save, and you make sure this is all current, and you click Next. The perspective we're showing you right now is that of a local Knights Marshal or a group Marshal. And as a group Marshal, you'll see a system-generated number of how many authorized fighters you have in your group and the number of fighters that are minor. Now, these numbers are calculated based on the records for your shire, your barony. So if these numbers are wrong or amiss somehow, you would need to go back and find which records need to be updated, make those updates, and then click on Report and start your report again. In this first field, you describe your Marshal activities for the quarter. I went to blah 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 event and helped Marshal. So you would list out what events you went to, what sort of marshalling you did at those events, any situations that are noteworthy, etc. And then you click on Next. And here's where the kind of the real meat of it is. Any injuries, disciplinary issues, if you had to run a marshal's court, anything particular that needs to be addressed that the Kingdom Earl Marshal needs to know about, this is your opportunity to talk about those things. So let's see here. Torg had a calibration issue. And if you're using a Google Chrome, you also have the benefit of spell check. But if you choose to do this work in another editor like Microsoft Word or email, something like that, you can copy and paste into here and it'll keep all your formatting. You click on Next. Now you're presented with a list of all the fighters that are in your group and what authorizations they currently hold and their activity status. And so this is your opportunity to send any notes that need to be notated by the Kingdom Card Marshal. For example, you might say Torg Torgerson has not fought in the last 6 months. So this will be just tracked in the database, and The interpretation is if SCA fighter has not competed in SCA activities in any shape or form in the last calendar year, typically they're moved to inactive status, which means they can no longer print a fighter card. They would at that point have to resume activity or go reauthorize in order to get that activity status back. So in the case of Torgerson here, we would just probably log in the database that they haven't fought in the last 6 months. If the same is true, if there's a trend that's tracked at some point, they'll be moved to inactive status. After 2 years or more, they'll probably be purged from the database. If someone hasn't fought in 2 years, they're likely not to resume. So as a local group marshal, you would make any notes on any of your members in your shire or barony that you think are necessary for the card marshal to take action on. So it could also be, something to the effect of Torgerson, just as an example, missing 2-weapon authorization. And by stating this, I'm presuming that you have a copy of their authorization form and can supply that. So next, you click on next, and then here is the summary field, and this just gives you an opportunity to summarize anything that you haven't already covered or anything else that you feel is necessary to send on to the Kingdom Earl Marshal as part of your report. We have 3 new Marshal in training starting this quarter, or something to that effect. When you click on next, you get a summary of everything that you've typed in. And when you click on the submit report button, a copy of this will be emailed to you at the email address that you signed in with, the Kingdom Earl Marshal, and your regional marshal for whatever region that you fall within. And a copy of it's also logged in the database as well. So that includes your quarterly reporting. To maintain your warrant, you need to report every quarter. To get your warrant for the first time as a marshal in training, you need to report for at least 2 consecutive quarters. So hopefully it's not too difficult and easy to maintain. Any questions, please contact the Kingdom Card Marshal.